Hello ratbags, it's Jade Plays Games. Welcome to another ARK Let's Talk. Today we're going to be talking about sponsored mods and why the hype generated over them coming to console is probably a little bit too much. Two new mods were added to the sponsored mod programs this month. Call the Wild by Timmy Carbine, a really good YouTuber, been doing so many videos for such a long time now on ARK. And then we've got Dragonpunk Tribe of Gods, which I'm really excited about. They've been progressing nicely, they're doing a lot of testing at the moment, but the basic theme is that it's a total conversion mod. Conversion mod is actually going to comprise lots of smaller mods in one big package. But that's not all, that's nothing really too particularly special. What is special about this is the way that it's actually going to deliver it. The idea is that you will be able to stream epic settings onto any PC device that you're currently using, as long as it's got like the right memory etc. for the game. So really exciting stuff. Last year I must have done 3 or 5 videos explaining how mods would maybe come to ARK Survival Evolved. Back then we was working on the assumption that mods would be like Skyrim or Fallout on console. Wildcard had announced that they would be hopefully bringing mods to console, and it was in their plans. Obviously this was after the Centre launched and Primitive Plus launched. At that point they were official mods, there was no sponsored mod program, it was just 2 mods that they chose to hopefully get some work done on them, and that would actually be put onto console. So out of them 2 mods, you'll probably know by now that the Centre worked out reasonably well. Creator of that map worked quite hard, and over the course of time it has become a fairly decent stable map. It was always a fantastic map, but it still needed a bit of work to keep it up to date with all the other stuff that was happening with ARK Survival Evolved. Primitive Plus didn't actually succeed as much. In fact, it was notoriously left without any support for months on end. And going over tweets and the questions before, it was apparently obvious, and according to Wildcard as well, that they maybe shouldn't have launched the actual mods. They were too soon, too early, and that the sponsored mod program was something better to get behind. But they tried something, and it was good that they was trying, because it meant that console users would get something that people don't normally get in games like these, which is mod support. The most requested mod going is Anuki Genesis, even though it's now actually pretty obsolete, as the developers of that are actually working on the new one, Extinction Core, which is kind of more like an updated version with other bits added to it. For months and months and months, YouTubers would be going on about Anuki Genesis coming to console. And there was no real foundation for this. It was just a lot of hype, and I was guilty of that hype as well. Although I never really mentioned Anuki Genesis, I did hype up the actual thought of mods coming because it was something I was really excited for. Over the course of time though, when obviously I take notice of what Wildcard are doing and how they're actually progressing, it started to become a little bit obvious that the mods that we were kind of getting told might come, they won't. That's why the sponsored mod program is something that's really good, because it means it's backed by Wildcard, and if they succeed there's a greater chance of them sponsored mods coming to console. Particularly in the last few months I've learned more and more about mods and how they would actually work on ARK Survival Evolved and serve you, just simply by looking at the sponsored mod program. But still continuously I keep seeing YouTubers hype up mods as if we're going to have access to every single mod going. And while I don't want to be negative and shit on things just for the sake of it, I do want to try and reduce that hype and talk to you about what type of the mods could come and what mods you will never see on console. Said, the creator of the Primitive Plus mod and actually in charge of the community sponsored mod program, has stated that maps are some of the easiest ones that are more likely to be transferred. Of course Ragnarok is one of them mods. It was part of the sponsored mod program, and now it's been ordained as an official mod, hence why it's coming out on console. Now believe it or not, it's not just a simple case of creating a new map and then just populating it with dinos. Each of these maps offer something different, but each of these maps all have their own issues and problems, all relating to either memory or optimization. Even Mr. Franks, the creator of the Centre map, is very experienced and has worked for a lot of companies over the years doing game design and modding. And even getting employed by Wildcard, he found it quite challenging getting everything into the game and getting it how they wanted. And when you actually look at the completed version of the Centre, which is complete, it took nearly 10 months to actually finish. So the idea that we're going to see all of these sponsored mods suddenly roll up and rock up onto actual console is a bit of a fallacy and a bit of a myth. Some of these mods are just simply going to be not optimised enough to actually put onto console. So a few weeks ago, Jeremy Stieglitz, the creator of Ark Survival Evolved, done an interview with PC Gamer, and it covered a wide range of things that PC Gamer have slowly drip fed in different separate articles, including server wipes, the mod program, as well as other stuff. He admits they've not dedicated as much time to actually the mod program since they've been trying to get the game ready, and that's okay. Jeremy goes on to say that they have plans to launch at least one more official DLC this year, with Stieglitz hopeful of a second. Now, this is where you need to understand something, and I have to say it really simply because I know some of you will get confused, whereas other of you will be rolling your eyes. There are two types of DLC in Ark Survival Evolved. There's the official DLC, and then there's the sponsored mod DLC. So from that statement alone, and things can change, but obviously with the troubled development of Ark Survival Evolved and the numerous delays on all sorts of things, I really cannot imagine them surpassing what they already plan. With Primal Survival cancelled or put on like a massively insane hiatus, SOTF dead in the water, there is really no point in getting hyped up about extra mods coming to Xbox or the PS4. As you can see, like I said, he plans to release one more this year and hopefully another one if they can push it. So this is why the sponsored mod program, as good as it can be, I think I definitely have not hyped up the mods in a long time. I was doing a weekly video showing you guys some of the sponsored mods, as well as some of the other ones that I thought were interesting or, you know, pretty good. However, when I started to learn that it's going to be very hard to get all of these mods on console, I kind of dropped interest in it as much. I'm just really tired of overhype, particularly from YouTubers that don't do any research into things and don't look stuff up properly. While it's okay to get caught up in hype, it's okay to really think that, you know, you want something to happen. That still does not give you an excuse to hype up something that you know nothing technically about. And I say this now because of all the stuff I've learned in the last 6 months. Before Christmas I was still hyped about mods, and I still thought we was going to get exactly like Fallout and, you know, Skyrim. You'd be able to just choose whatever mod you want and away you go. But simply put, Wildcard haven't got the resources for that type of system. It would take a phenomenal amount of money, time and resource to actually implement that. The mod support for Skyrim and Fallout didn't just happen overnight. It's taken nearly 3.5 years to actually get right. And as you know, there's lots of problems with the mods actually functioning with the main game, and frequently you may have to delete your save files to actually get the mods to work, or you might overload your game. And that's normal, that's something you will suffer with because you want to play these mods. The other aspect is things like this, Monster Hunter monsters in Ark. For a while this was pretty popular alongside the Pokemon mod. But again, of course, if they're borrowing assets from another game, they will not ever be part of the sponsored mod program. Xbox and PS4 won't allow any game company to steal, you know, assets. There will become huge problems and issues with that. I hope this changes in the future. I hope maybe after Christmas, once everything's died down a little bit, and they're probably working on their second DLC, the paid one that you'll have to actually pay for, or the actual free one that they're hopefully going to implement as well. I really do hope they can look at this system again, or they can really give the sponsored mod program a boost and see how many of them can get their stuff actually complete. But for now, don't be overhyped by mods. Ragnarok is coming, we're going to get another official sponsored mod. And of course we are going to get a paid DLC coming in the next few months as well. So following on from that about the mods and the hype, there is something else you need to know which I've not seen any other YouTubers cover yet. There's actually been 4 mods removed from the program. If you was looking forward to the maps Rahima or Madagascar, you'll be disappointed. They've actually been taken off the program. And while this means they could still be carried on and they'll be available on PC, they will not be coming to Xbox or the PS4. The same goes for Ark Moon Survival and NPC Bush People. Now out of them two, I don't think that many people were bothered about Ark Moon Survival. If you type it into YouTube, you'll find a handful of people have covered it in the last year or so. Quite frankly, it was just pretty boring walking around a rock, i.e. the moon. And clearly the devs that were doing it obviously wanted to put lots of their own input in it. They created their brand new character models, as well as a bunch of other sort of real, you know, stuff they made themselves to go with their total conversion mod. But they must not have been hitting their markers because they have been dropped from the program. The one you're probably all going to be upset by is the NPC Bush People mod. For many, that was going to be the only way you'll ever see an NPC in Ark Survival Evolved. The devs have stated in the last month it's not in their plans and it's not part of their focus going forward. And while you can never say never, and that is the mantra that Wildcard will say anytime you ask them about mods, I still feel that sometimes we're kind of all being led on a little bit. So I think it's important, while you can hype stuff up when you don't really know all the information or all the facts because there's none available, when you do get that type of information, it's important to actually let you guys know. Now these mods may be worked on, like I said, in the future, they may be carried on, and like they may come out on PC. Some of these mods may get inspiration for other people to add their own type of mod and their own unique way. Maybe there'll be a different NPC mod that gets added to the sponsored program. But with that information and what I've told you about Jeremy or Wildcard's plans to actually release some of these mods on console, you can clearly see the actual progress of getting this stuff on console is going to be very, very long indeed. And that's important to get across, because not just the hype aspect, but it really might inform your decision whether or not to stick with the game past release or past the next part of the DLC, whatever it is you're looking forward to for the future of Ark Survival Evolved. Mods give life to games. That's why Skyrim is so popular, because the mods gave life. Even if only a small percentage of people are actually able to play it on PC. The YouTube videos, the streaming of it created a bigger product because of the actual mods being able to be added to the game. So every games company normally would like some sort of extra big thing to keep it going. Not all games companies do. Some don't really like the idea of mods at all, particularly Minecraft and Microsoft. Their decision to make it all behind paid and make their own sponsored type program where it's community stuff actually vetted by them first is a good idea. However, it's not a good idea they're charging for it. If Wildcard, a small independent team, and I will applaud them for this, can pay developers or modders $4,000 a month, then why can't they actually pay actual community people that are making Minecraft mods instead of it being us paying through microtransactions? So fair play to Wildcard for doing this, fair play to him for trying to implement some mods and get something on console that is different, that is unique, and that we might not see. As of right now, we have of course got the centre map, Primitive Plus, in a very bad way though. It's nowhere near to where its creator actually set it out to be. Ragnarok supposedly by launch will be around 70% complete. And in terms of what's going on in the future, there is some other good news that the actual Structures Plus could be coming to console as an actual added feature, not a mod, but an actual something they can implement and change and put into the building schemes of Ark Survival Evolved. This was confirmed in a few tweets from the dev team talking about structures. They're actually talking to the creator of the mod right now and seeing if there's a way they can actually implement it nice and cleanly. So there you go, that is Ark Let's Talk. We've gone through the mod situation at the moment. Now you hopefully understand exactly what's going to be happening in the next 6 months. And you now know what mods have been dropped from the program and what ones have been added. I will be taking a look at these mods in the future once the game's fully launched. And I'll be giving updates on their status and their progress. But I really just wanted this video to be not a downer, but just a little heads up. Don't be overhyped on mods coming to Ark. In the future, maybe they can work a system where they will be able to implement it nice and cleanly, like Fallout 4 or Skyrim. At the moment, we're probably only going to see maybe 1 or 2 out of this list currently added to the full game by Christmas. So there you go guys, that is Jade Talks Games. We'll be back for more Ark related info soon, and I'll maybe expand in the series to cover other aspects of gaming. Make sure you hit that like button, let me know in the comment section what actual mod you're most looking forward to and what one you really hope comes out in the next 6 months. Until then, bye bye!